Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. This episode is brought to you by The Wellness Paradigm, a holistic health coaching company shifting the way that women understand and heal their bodies. Through bioenergetic testing, functional lab testing, and functional nutrition, we uncover what traditional approaches often overlook. So you can stop guessing, start healing, and finally feel like yourself again. No more one size fits all protocols, just real answers, deep rooted healing, and the clarity and confidence you deserve to feel incredible. It's time to shift the paradigm of women's health. Now, on to our show. And good afternoon, Sam.
Hello.
Guys, I'm so excited. Sam is here today. Sam is just incredible. I know I'm going to read a little bit about you, but truly, it doesn't fully even embody who you are. But she is an incredible, energizing speaker. She's a channeler. She's a podcast host of an incredible podcast called Let's Get Weird. She's also the founder of Voice and Visibility, which is a brand strategy, podcast, and PR agency. And really, that's just like, it helps a lot of women, or actually men too, right? Yeah, just visionary leaders and light workers get seen, heard, and build legacies and really just make a lot of money. So,
It's true.
but Sam, please introduce yourself. Let us know more about who you are and how you got into this sort of work.
Yeah. Well, I will say that how you introed me feels pretty accurate. And for me, like how I got into all of this was, I'm going to give you it in a nutshell. I think a lot of people can relate to this, that you, as a kid, you're yourself, whatever that means. There's no judgment. You're just doing your thing. And then at a certain point, your gifts, your uniqueness, your natural expression, the way that you are can get squashed. And if you are a gifted child, I was totally a gifted child. I was very sensitive and very in tune with what was going on. I was always told I was mature for my age. I was an old soul, as they say. I didn't really know how to exist in the world. And so my strategy, much like most humans, is to shrink themselves to fit in, right? And that's also what society teaches us. So that's what I did, and shrunk who I was, shrunk my personality, kind of became a shell of myself, and got to a very, very, very dark place multiple times in my childhood, and even after grad school, where I really was like, why am I on planet Earth? Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't even want to be here anymore. What am I doing here? And it was definitely my personal rock bottom. And that led me on a, let's say, spiritual awakening. I didn't recognize that's what it was at the time, but it was definitely awakening to myself, to my gifts, to owning who I am, to being fully expressed, and then to now building businesses and being an entrepreneur and being a speaker and all of the other things that I do. But it's been an unlearning. Like, that has been the last few decades of my life, is just unlearning all of the bullshit and coming back to the truth of who I am and showing up and shining radically as that.
And that's a big thing that you stand for, and your platform and your voice is really just like being in your authenticity and using your, who you are for your story, right? So,
Totally.
I'm curious, when you guide people through their kind of journey on maybe unlearning things, unsticking themselves, because you work with a lot of entrepreneurs, helping them, yes, to make more money, but in order to do that, you got to really unstick old patterns. Um, Walk me through a little bit of what that process kind of looks like.
For sure. So I feel like for me, one of my gifts is I can see people. Like, and when I say that, I mean, like, I can see the highest version of them. Like, I can see the truly authentic version of them. And though they might be wearing a bunch of masks and coats and cloaks, at least they think they are, I can see who they really are. And that can be really scary for some people because they don't want to be seen yet. They're not ready to be seen. They have visibility wounds, etc. But the coolest thing I think about the work, at least the work that I do in like my one-on-one sessions or just working privately with clients, is that because I can see the truth of who they are, it's really easy for me to speak to the parts of them that they're holding themselves back from, right? And say, actually, I see XYZ, XYZ, and they're like, fuck, fuck. Like no one's ever seen me or said this or put words to how I felt my whole life. And, you know, most of the clients that I do work with are very intuitive, and they are coming into their gifts even more, and they trigger the fuck out of people because they are like light workers. Like they really are here to build the new earth. They really are here to heal the planet. They're here to just exist, and their pure existence brings up shit in other people, you know? And so because of that, they sometimes go to the people pleasing side where they're trying to make others more comfortable, so then they make themselves more palatable. But when the truth is, like, they're here to lead, they're here to build these crazy ass legacies and create generational wealth and break karmic patterns. And it's like, there's so much stuff around like breaking patterns and cycles from not just your life, but also like past lifetimes or just generations, right? I think really this is one of the, like this era, like 2025 to 2050, I feel like there's going to be a huge rupture in like scarcity consciousness, and a lot of patterns around wealth and visibility that are like wounds around those two things are going to be broken. And like our generation is going to heal that and actually allow ourselves to be fully expressed and have and hold a lot of money. That hasn't always been the case. So there's this healing that happens, but then there's this peeling back of like who this person really is and what they really want, and not being attached to old identities.
Yeah, that's when you speak about that, that's just such a huge thing. And if anybody would do it, it would be you, Sam, leading.
Well, I gotta be honest. It's so funny because there's times where I've tried to just do one thing, you know, like, and it always comes back to this huge, what I just said to you, which is huge. It's like, oh, okay, let's just try to fit all that in a box and a course. Like, no. Um, so yeah, I do feel like I've known since I was a kid that I was going to be on stage and lead, and yeah, I don't know, I just always knew that I was gonna be on TV and I was gonna have my voice be known. Like I had no idea how I knew that, but I just knew that. And then, like I said, there was a lot of incidences where I was like, oh, I should be quieter. I should not take up space. I should not put myself out there. I should not raise my hand. I should just shut the fuck up. And yeah, it's now I feel like throughout all the work that I have done and the work that I lead my clients through, it's like, oh no, actually, the mission is quite big. It's quite big.
Yes, yes, and I know I won't disclose anything, but there's something big you're working on, you know.
Oh, we can talk about it. I talked about it on another podcast the other day, so we can talk about it if you want.
Please, can you share it? I'm so excited for it.
Sure. So, yeah, this was a few months ago. I got this vision, and kind of this little like, I get them as either audible messages, or oftentimes it's when I'm hiking or if I'm in nature, I'll get these huge, like, how it feels like is it's, you know, those images of like your head and then the top of your head is chopped off and it's like opened up and it's like, la, la, la. So it feels like my head, just like your crown, right? Your crown chakra, like it opens up and I just connect to the ether. And I felt like my head just opened up and I got all this information like channeled to me very divinely. And it was like frequency fest. And I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, and I was like, oh my God, like I have to bring this to life. And I didn't really know anything other than that. It was just like, okay, this is a really cool name. Yeah. And I had gone to so many events. I know we've been to events together, but I had gone to so many events where you sit down the whole time and you're inside and it's like LED lights. And I get so restless. I can't sit down for that many hours. I get so bored and I check out. And I was like, no, like, I feel like I've always wanted to host an event, like a big event, but I want it to be immersive and have all of the senses engaged. How do we do that? Well, we bring in nature, we get movement, dance, singing, comedy, speaking. Like there is a whole ass experience. And I was like, what better date to do it than on Lionsgate, the abundance portal? Like what other day would we pick? So I just happened to look at the calendar, and August 8th of 2026 is on a Saturday. So 2026, August 8th, I will be bringing together all of the humans to experience Frequency Fest. And it would be really, really cool if it was a raging success. And we do it every year. And it becomes a thing because it feels like the merging of all of the things I love and do: dancing, speaking. I'm starting to take singing lessons, comedy, bringing people, community, nature, just collaboration, like all of this stuff. And I think that we need more spaces where we're getting out of our heads and back into our bodies. And I think that's how we create the new earth. Like we don't create the new earth from our mind. Our mind is based in fear in the past. We create the new earth from space, like actually co-creating with life and getting ideas. And ideas are new; they haven't been created yet. So yeah, I really feel like I'm just supposed to bring all these epic people together and see what happens. And I know it will be magical because it will be. It's Frequency Fest.
Well, because everything you touch turns into magic.
Turns to gold.
And it's also a really badass name. So I just
Thank you. Yeah, trademark. Don't take it, guys.
She runs a PR agency or something.
I will kill you.
We'll find you or have a lot of connections. But I think that's I think it's incredible. But I also think when we hear the word frequency, especially maybe to an audience that is newer to this kind of work, and maybe the consciousness, they've not even heard of these kind of like terms before, and they hear frequency and it's like, oh, this is witchcraft, this is ooh. If somebody was maybe new to this kind of world, explain to me a little bit on the power of true frequency and alignment and how this has shifted not only for you, but like the thousands of people you've worked with.
Yeah. So a great resource who actually put science to frequency is David Hawkins. He created the scale of consciousness. And the scale of consciousness is basically, he takes every emotion from shame, anger, rage, guilt, acceptance, love, peace, bliss. He rates them and gives them a frequency, right? Yeah. And when we've gone through really traumatic experiences, we've gone through really hard shit, and we don't heal that. We don't process it. We just kind of like shove it and suppress it. What happens is those experiences like get trapped in our physical body. Yeah. And we can think about it. I like to think about your body like I think about our bodies as like channels, but if we think about our body almost like a garbage bag. This is a really bad analogy, but I think people will get the point. What is in the bag, right? Do you have a bunch of anger at your mom? Do you have unforgiveness to your dad? Did someone do something to you? Did you get made fun of and you have guilt and shame around a part of you? Like we start to hold and accumulate things in our bag, right? And so we go through our life and our bag gets heavier and heavier. And then it starts to be like Santa's bag where we're like dragging it behind us. Yeah. Now that can manifest as physical weight, autoimmune, struggles with speaking up, using your voice, being seen, so many things, disease, cancer, so many things, right? But also it starts to create your electromagnetic fields. And if you think about your body like a magnet and you have a bunch of dirt and shit in your bag, right? You are going to start to attract really other bad stuff. Mm-hmm. And so it's often that people who have unprocessed life experiences that they've never felt, never healed, never moved through, they will attract similar experiences into their life. So if they were abused,
Yep.
in childhood, they will either attract an abuser or they will become the abuser. Like there will be abuse because that was never fully healed. But if we took the abuse, we healed the abuse, which means we like remove abuse from the bag, then we don't attract that anymore because we lost that part of our magnet, right? So the idea is that in order to create truly the life that you want and everything that you want, relationship, love, happiness, health, business, etc., right? We need to take all of the shit out of our bag and we need to fill our bag with good things and presents and love and happiness and like fun things. And then not only do we go through the world lighter, but we heal disease. You can reverse autoimmune, you can reverse cancer, you can reverse all of these things. And then you start attracting really cool opportunities and people and experiences into your world because you have this energy that's magnetic. You're like, you are a vibe. You know, when you meet people that you're like, wow, that person's a total vibe, or you feel drawn to somebody, it's likely because they have a high frequency. And so I've gone through, we all start out as very, very high frequency beings when we're born. We don't have anything unless you went through a traumatic birth. Mm-hmm. You might be carrying like DNA that is low frequency, sure. But like when we come into this earth, we are perfectly whole and complete and loved. And then we go through life and our parents say something and life happens and blah, blah, blah. And we carry all these limiting beliefs and it weighs us down. And so the idea with Frequency Fest and just frequency in general is the higher you vibrate, because we are literally energy and we are all vibrating. If you like took a magnifying glass to us, you would see our cells literally going like we are all vibrating, and the higher we are vibrating, the easier life is, the better life is, the more vibrant we are. Like everything just gets better. And I have kind of let's say learned these codes, right? And I just feel so fucking called to teach people like, you can do this too. Like you truly can change your life, but it does start at an energetic level. And most of the time, people are just really scared to do that because they're like, how do I heal the trauma from when I was 7? And it's like, we don't have to do talk therapy. You never even have to fucking talk about it. You literally don't. You need to just move it out of your body. And that can be done through dancing. It can be done through screaming. It's going to be done through everything that we do at Frequency Fest. There's going to be a whole, it's going to be so fun. Healing can be fun. It does not have to be scary or traumatic. It really can be fun. And you end up losing weight. You reverse age. Your skin gets clearer. Your hair gets healthier. Like everything gets better. And there is so much evidence to support that this is true, but also so much evidence for the opposite being true, which is you need a weight loss supplement because you have a weight problem. And it's like, no, you don't. You have an emotional problem, actually, that's just manifesting as physical weight. I used to teach weight loss and I used to teach it through this lens. People lose weight and then be like, I'm not even changing it. I'm like, yeah, because you're feeling your feelings. So, yeah. Basically, frequency in a nutshell is how you feel on the daily basis. I used to feel depressed and had suicidal thoughts. Okay. So I've been in the depths and I don't feel like I would be able to even teach this work, or would I want to teach this work if I didn't go there? I've been at that rock bottom and now I can be at the place where most days I do feel great, and that's so beautiful to say because that was not my reality before. I was just sitting here last night. We just got our couch. We just moved into our place like a month ago and we finally got a couch yesterday. And funny story about the couch is we ordered it because it's like a custom thing, right? And it came in 2 pieces and one of the pieces was the wrong color. So it came in like mismatched colors. And I was just like laughing about it. I'm like, okay, whatever. And my immediate thought around it was, well, maybe we'll get some money back for this complication of buying a bougie ass couch and buying white glove service to get it delivered and them not actually giving us the right product. But I know a previous version of me would have been like, oh my God, they messed up the couch. Like, meh.
This always happens to
Yeah,
me.
yeah. And nothing ever works out for me. I'm like, no, this is going to work out for me because I'm going to call them and say, hey, we actually waited a few extra weeks for the couch and you gave us the wrong color. Let's see what we can do. Like this is working out in my favor. And so I think when you start to change the way that you relate to life, your life gets infinitely better. So, yeah.
Well, that was the most beautiful way anybody has, I think, ever described frequency. I'm very glad that that got brought up. I was not sure if I was going to bring up your frequency fest, next year, but now if you're listening to this, you have to go.
You have to go because we're going to sell out Red Rocks.
Seriously, though. I mean, that's amazing. And I'm so glad you tapped on two really key points we talk about a lot on this podcast, right? Is like healing cannot just be done through nutrition and fitness alone. Like it is so much of it is generational. So much of it is emotional. And that's what's so cool. I mean, now obviously I do bioresonance. If you listen to any podcast now, that's frequency medicine, right? And it's like people are scared of it because it's like what are they gonna uncover, And it's
Yeah.
like, but your body just energetically knows what to do. It just needs a little help sometimes getting there. Bioresonance, dancing, somatic work, breath work, whatever it is. Like there's so many ways to kind of move this that aren't like, oh, I have to go talk to a therapist, because most people don't think that emotions are playing a role, especially with, I've worked in, again, weight loss for 15 years now. People don't want to believe that that has anything. They're like,
I
well,
know.
I'm just, I'm not stressed. Well, your body's telling a different story. So, it's we carry on things that also aren't always ours. And
Yeah.
it's like, I'm glad you kind of mentioned that too, because this stuff manifests. It manifests as autoimmune issues, as weight loss, as just health concerns. And like, you can't out supplement your way out of it.
No, you can't. And, I had IBS, I had, um, oh my God, parasites, I had candida, I had like all these issues. And, you know, so much of that was a result of me overworking my body, like putting
Always.
myself into such a stressed state.
Yep.
And it wasn't about what I was eating or like it wasn't about that. It was that the truth is like I was overdoing it with exercise because I could not sit in my own body without so much discomfort and anxiety.
Mm.
And I had so much unprocessed feelings. And if I showed you photos of my body, you wouldn't even believe it was me. Like it I've probably lost like 30 at least 30 pounds, and I lost the weight through intense diet and exercise, tracking my every single calorie and working out 5 to 8 times a week, which is cray cray. And I don't recommend, doing actually even more. I was probably doing 2 days, a lot of days. And then I regained all the weight back because I was like, I am living in fear. I can't even live my life without thinking about eating food every other fucking minute because I am restricting myself so much and I am living in fear. And I'm done. I can't do it. So during COVID, I was like, I think this is 2020. I was like, fuck it. I'm just going all in. I saw a girl do that. I can't remember what her name is or else I'd shout her out, but she did this like all in diet, which is basically just whatever. And I gained the 30 pounds right back and I looked awful, and not from like a self-deprecating perspective, just like I was so inflamed. I was so just, oh God, bloated in my face, like, oh, so much inflammation. And then I really started learning about the power of energy and I think also connecting to a higher power and rebuilding a relationship with, I don't want to say God. I grew up Catholic and I really don't feel called to religion, but I do feel like there is a greater presence. Like we are God and God is us. I think like when we connect to a higher power and like ask for support, we get it. I truly believe that. And so rebuilding a relationship with, let's just say God or the divine, and then also really allowing myself to move emotions through movement, you know? And then I lost all of the weight. And for the last like 3 or 4 years, I have not intentionally tried to lose any weight. But it is all fallen off of me. And I definitely look the strongest, the fittest, the healthiest, the most vibrant I've ever looked. Obviously, I'm the oldest I've ever been. But I think that I look the healthiest and happiest I've ever been. And it's truly, it's energy. Like it is so energy.
Mm. Yeah, someone to like yell at. Because that's why I got into this work. That's why I got into bioresonance. That's why we met last year.
Yeah.
Like I was sick of working around so many people that it was just like, you don't need another lab test. You don't need another supplement. You don't need another diet. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you need to rewire patterns. You need to rewire how your body thinks about itself and how you feel about yourself. And it's like, what are you running from? And I've turned off so many people who were like that, like, I don't talk like that. They don't want to hear that. They're not, resistant to it. That's okay. But at some point, it's like what you've been doing hasn't been working. And even the things that we know how to do, at some point, you have to address this other huge component. We are energy at our absolute core. This is not woo woo. This is not, we are at our absolute being. We are vibrating cells and we're
Yeah.
energy,
It's
right?
just science.
It's literal science. Like you told me a scientist earlier. Like I'm literally like a nerd for the science. And there's so much science that backs up all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, but I understand you have to be in a time and place to accept it.
Yeah. Totally. Not everyone is ready.
No.
And I know I sure wasn't at certain points in my life. And it doesn't mean like there's no like better or worse or like, oh, they are ready versus they're not. It, like don't go into like your ego around it. It's just like when it's time, like it will find you. And I think that truly like my I didn't even know that I was never trying to go on a healing journey. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like all I wanted to do was like do something that lit me up. Yeah,
Mhm.
like I went to school for architecture. I got my grad degree. I was working in the architecture world in my 9 to 5. I was working 80-hour weeks for $40,000 a year. It was insane. And I was like, I cannot live like this. And so me just like following my intuition, like soul path, that was really what kind of sparked all of this of just being like, we're all gonna die. We are all gonna fucking die one day. And I will not die with regret, an unlived life in me.
Yeah.
And I can honestly say, at 34 years old, if I died tonight, obviously I would be sad because I still feel like I have so much more life to live, but I would be content.
Yeah.
And I want everyone to feel that way. I don't want anyone to go to their deathbed with regret. You know, there's a study of I'm spacing on her name right now, but she did this study. If you look up hospice study, she went and interviewed people in hospice on their deathbed and asked them their top five regrets.
Hmm.
If you just look up top five regrets of the dying, you'll find it. And I think there's a book on it too. And
Yeah.
they all said, like, I wish I had the courage to follow my joy and do what I loved and worked less and spent more time with friends and family and told people how I really felt. And I'm like, that is why we are on planet Earth. Like that is literally why we're here.
Hmm.
And like we've been sold a lie, you know? We've been sold a lie to work for somebody else if we're not happy to just stay in that. Now, if you love working for somebody else, please continue doing that, but like you need to be in your joy. You need to enjoy your life. And I think that's why so many people form addiction or end up with disease and all this stuff because their body's trying to communicate with them that something's off and they think that it's a problem rather than the solution.
Yeah.
Like your body is telling you, yo, this is not it. Yo, like something, your
Oh,
body's communicating with you. Your body is actually your subconscious mind. And so it's giving you the guidance. Don't make it your enemy. Like listen to it. It will tell you where to go. It will tell you what to do. You just got to trust that.
yeah. 100%. And not make it mean something else that, oh, my body's failing me again. This always happens.
Right.
We like pull back into that victim mentality and, you know, but I like what you said. It's just, you're going to find this on your own path. I know for me, mine was later on too. Finding energy work was when like nothing else really felt like right. I felt good, but I didn't feel great. And I was like, something
Mm.
is missing. I don't know what it is. That started me on my spiritual journey, and it's so interesting how everybody kind of gets into this kind of work.
Yeah, I mean, I do think there's a very big, um, I don't know if awakening is the right word, but I just do feel like a lot of people are really recognizing that like we don't have time for inauthenticity anymore.
Yeah.
Like there's just there's something I think going on right now in the world generally where people are just like, yeah, no. And I don't know what that is exactly, but I feel like the pulse on life generally is that like people are just like, no, like I need to like live life according to me and like my values and like what's true for me and not follow some blueprint or formula for what life is supposed to be like or whatever. Because yeah, it's like not everyone, like everyone's version of success and fulfillment is going to look different, you know? And um, like example, we're going to Disney. Okay, I haven't been to Disney since I was like 10 years old. We're going to Disney. Kurt, my husband's best friend, is renewing his vows there, and
Awesome.
I'm like, honestly, I was like, I don't want to go to Disney. Like, I just don't want to go to Disney. Um, and and he was like, well, we're gonna go to support. You know, he's one of my best friends. I'm like, sure, okay, we're going, fine. But I was looking at the like hotel rooms, and I was like, isn't it so interesting how some people value this so much. They want to pay all this money to stay in the Disney hotel room, right? Whereas for me, what I value the most is not that. Like it's just not that type of experience. And so how two of those things can be so different and both very valid and awesome. But I'm like, it was just like one of those reminders of like, we are all so different, yet everyone just tries to be the same. But the
Hmm.
truth is, like, we need a bunch of unique people doing their unique things in their unique way. Cause, like, I truly believe, like, we are actually all meant to be trailblazers. And the more that we step into that and create what we wish existed and follow what lights us up, like, that's how we find out who we truly are, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. I used to have season passes to Disney when I lived in California. So,
Really?
oh yeah.
I've never been to, that's Disney World or Disneyland? Which one?
Disneyland's California, Disney
Okay.
World, Florida.
I've never been to Disneyland.
Mm,
So I don't know what the difference is really, other than it being in a different state. But
that's smaller. But it's amazing. So, but that's so true too. I mean, it's also, I mean, some people, it's like, actually, I had, she was not my mentor, but somebody I know that was like her version of wealth was can she afford every year to take her family of four or five to Disneyland and stay
mm,
at the, Disneyland hotel. That's always, be more. I can't remember. Maybe it's a Grand Floridian or something like, you know, $400 a night plus, and
yeah,
it was like her version of like wealth to her was I can bring my family there every year and not
yep,
think twice about it. For other people, they save for, 10 years for it, but it was, it's so interesting. Like that was her metric.
yeah,
And I love that.
yeah. It's super cool, and I think that's like so important. Whether we're talking about frequency or authenticity or whatever, it's just like my version of wealth is where I live right now, which is being able to walk to a trailhead and hike or trail run in my backyard and then have a view of the mountains and a view of the city from where I live. That to me is there's nothing more wealthy feeling than that, you
Yeah.
know? It actually costs $0, but for me, that's true abundance. Like the spaciousness in my schedule too, to enjoy that, that is wealth. Like, yes, growing, having financial assets and being able to afford the things you want. Yes. Being able to buy high quality food, that is wealth to me. Being able to, go to the spa, wealth. But it's a lot of times our definition of wealth is different. And I think if we don't understand what that is, then we end up spending money on things we don't really care about. And then it doesn't feel good to spend money on those things. And then we're like, wait a second, what? This isn't adding up.
100%. And there's just never feel, it's like this emptiness, you never feel like things are enough and you keep trying to fill the void with other things.
Right.
And that's, where things tend to spiral. I get it. I mean, well, to me, it's hanging out with my kid, and it's,
Yeah.
not having to worry and having space to just take the day off if he needs it.
Yeah.
Like, everybody has a different version of that. You know, and that's a beautiful thing. So I think
Yeah.
figuring
Yeah.
out what that means to you.
Yeah.
But I think kind of closing this up, ooh, if you could think of one, maybe two, if you think of three, that's fine too. Kind of words of advice for somebody who's maybe going through this journey. They're kind of maybe on their entrepreneur journey or just spiritual journey in general. They're feeling sticky. They're, just trying to figure out their right path. Like, what would you tell them to help guide them on the direction they're kind of meant to be?
Hmm. So I grew up, I know we share this in common, competitively dancing.
Hmm.
And so much of what I was taught is to look a certain way.
Hmm.
And I think that very like society is very much focused on the looks. And it's not to say that it doesn't matter how things look, but what is the most important is how things feel.
Yeah.
And so I would say the main piece of advice is focus more on how things or people or environments or the food that you put in your body or the music you listen to or whatever, how things feel rather than how they look. And you can take that advice and apply it to every single part of your life. You can apply it to how you work out and move your body. You can apply it to what you eat. There's certain things that I eat that feel amazing, but like if I were to like look at the calories or whatever, it would probably make my mind be like, oh, I shouldn't eat that. But it feels great to eat. And you can apply it to business, right? What actually feels exciting and alive and true to you? What feels like a drain? Don't do the draining stuff. Of course we have to do stuff we don't want to do all the sometimes, but for your actual body of work and what you're doing, like, yeah, does it light you up? So everything, again, going back to this, everything's energy. It's either lighting you up or it's not. It's either giving you energy or it's not. And so to just do some self-reflection and self-awareness around your energy hygiene of after you hang out with someone, do you feel better or worse? That is a very, very, very simple test that will tell you, do you want to hang out with that person? Is that person going to be a good asset in your life? Same with the work you do. Same with the food you eat. Same with the movement. How do you feel? That will give you a lot of clarity just generally in your life. And I think that if more people tuned into the feeling state of everything in their environment, they would have so much more of what they wanted.
100%. 100%. Well, Sam, as always, I so appreciate your time being here, your
Of course.
wisdom, and I feel like so many little golden nuggets for people to take away here. If people wanted to connect with you or find more about kind of the work you do, where can they find you?
Yes. Okay. You can find me. Let's see. So my podcast is Let's Get Weird. So Let's Get Weird with Sam Altieri. You'll see it. It's like neon yellow, like podcast cover art, and we talk about all of the things to do with energy and frequency and owning who you are and your authentic path and all that. And then I started TikTok recently, which has been really fun, and that's been popping off. That is voice and visibility. So that's my handle there. My handle on Instagram is my name, Sam Altieri. I'm sure you'll put all this in the show notes, but yeah, and then my company is voiceandvisibility.com. So you can find all that stuff. And yeah, come say hi. I have a bunch of free classes, downloads, offerings, and yeah, you can peruse. Um, but I would say TikTok and the podcast is really where a lot of people congregate. So yeah.
Mm, love that. Guys, go follow her, go check out her site, go download anything she's giving you because it's going to be gold, all right? So, but thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for being here. If you guys found it helpful, shoot Sam a DM, shoot me a DM. I love hearing when people have really, great takeaways, and I'm sure Sam would love hearing from you too. So, thank you guys
Yes.
for being here. Thank you, Sam, for being here, and we'll catch you guys on the next show.
Bye.
Bye.